Hello, lovelies. This is 5 Minute Manifesting, and I'm your host, Lovey Brown. Thank you so much for listening. I'm thrilled that you're here. And today is day 9 of our Manifest a Romantic Relationship Masterclass. So, today I want to talk to you about whether or not you think you're good enough for a romantic relationship. Now, that's a very specific belief, and we've already been talking about beliefs a couple of times in this class already. And if you've manifested anything, you know that your beliefs about the circumstance often comes into play. So this belief, I am good enough or I'm not good enough, um, is very common. It's very common for people, for humans, in any circumstance, whether they believe in manifesting or don't believe in manifesting or just exist on the planet, to have picked up a belief of I am not good enough. In fact, research indicates about 95% of people at some point in their life have the belief, I am not good enough, in like a core foundational way. And they sort of spend their lives looking for evidence that they belong and they are good enough. And so I want to tell you right now that you are good enough. You are good enough. You're good enough to manifest exactly what you want. You're good enough to manifest a romantic relationship. You're good enough that any person would be lucky to be with you, would be lucky to be with you in a romantic relationship. And so let's just talk a little bit about how we develop this belief and how we can change it. So we develop this belief because we're programmed from childhood, really, to, and parents, and like, I'm not trying to blame parents or caregivers or adults in children's lives. We kind of all are in this situation together. So there's not any blame. I'm not trying to pass along blame, but it's okay to acknowledge that you were programmed with a belief that you weren't good enough, probably by very well-meaning people who did love you as best as they could, but they are, also have the belief that they're not good enough, probably. And so you hear a lot of no's, you hear a lot of criticism, you hear a lot of feedback when you're young that really creates a situation inside of you that just makes it easy to develop this belief that you're not good enough. And then when we move into this romantic realm of life, it's so tender, it's so close to the heart that people really sort of pick up this idea at any sort of rejection that they are not good enough, or it reinforces that idea that they already have. So what we want to do to manifest a romantic relationship, especially one that is joyful and fun and loving, like the kind that you deserve to have, is to really work on this belief, to really work on changing this I am not good enough belief to I am good enough. And I want you to sort of ask yourself some questions today. One, to identify whether or not you have this belief. I imagine that you probably do. Remember, I just quoted that statistic earlier that 95% of people have it or have had it at some point. What do you tell yourself in a situation when you're rejected? What do you tell yourself? Do those things sound like I'm not good enough? Do you sort of chase after love because you believe that will prove to you that you are good enough? Like, are you trying to extract love from a romantic relationship because you believe that will prove that you're good enough? So just sort of think about those questions, because this is what I want to tell you. If you've listened to my podcast for any length of time, I know I've said this before and I'm saying it again. If you are here on the planet existing, you are good enough. But the place that has to come from is inside of you. And those bad feelings that come up when you're rejected, or when you're telling yourself some story of, not good enoughness around being rejected by a potential romantic partner, Those stories that feel painful are painful because they're not true. They're painful because they're not true. And so it's your job to really comfort yourself and soothe yourself and tell yourself that you are good enough, that you get to choose who you're going to be, that you get to choose your identity. And you then live from that place. And that energy is very attractive. That energy is very attractive, and it will assist you in manifesting a romantic relationship. So thank you so much for listening. This was day 9, and then we will pick this up again tomorrow in day 10. May you manifest exactly what you want.